Hello, thanks for being here today. My name is Jean-Nicolas Audet. I'm a postdoc at the Rockefeller University Field Research Center in Millbrook, and today I will talk about problem solving and its relationship with innovation and brain size in birds. Innovation is defined as a solution to a novel problem. Here we have the example of a blue-tit opening a milk bottle to feed from its content. This is a very famous innovation that have been thoroughly described and studied. There are numerous other examples of innovations that have been described in the wild in several taxa. One way to quantify this innovation has been proposed by Louis Lefebvre about 25 years ago, and his idea was to look at the reports of innovations in the specialized ornithology literature and compile those cases in a large innovation database that now contains more than 3,800 cases in more than 1,200 species. This innovation database has been very useful in order to assess relationship with other traits. For example, it was shown that innovation frequency was associated with invasion potential in birds, meaning that birds that are more innovative have more chances of colonizing new environments and surviving in such environments. More recently, it was shown that innovativeness reduces extinction risks in birds as well. Another flagship result that was obtained using the innovation database is that innovative species have larger brains. This was shown in birds and in primates as well. But beyond brain size, if the goal is to understand the mechanisms and processes that produce innovative behaviors, it's impossible to use the same large-scale comparative approach simply because we lack large databases containing more precise aspects of the brain, for example, the number of synapses or neurotransmitter receptor densities and so on. So we need to turn into a more focused and experimental approach. In order to measure innovation experimentally, we need an appropriate behavioral test that would measure the same skills that are required to innovate. However, to date, there is no consensus as to which behavioral test would be the most appropriate to measure innovativeness. In order to answer that question, among others, we started a large cognition project at the Rockefeller Field Center 4 years ago, and it was just completed. We tested 203 birds in 15 species and gave every bird a battery of cognitive tests. The first behavioral test aimed at measuring discrimination learning using a standard color discrimination task in which the birds had to associate a color with a reward. The second phase, reversal learning, used the exact same test, but the rewarded color was reversed. We also measured self-control abilities by using a standard detour reaching task in which the birds had to reach for a reward, either seeds or a worm, without pecking on the transparent cylinder. Finally, we gave the birds 4 different problems to solve, which required either removal of lids, piercing of a lid, or pulling of a stick in order to gain access to a reward. We counted the number of trials required for the birds to solve each problems and then did the average for the 4 problems. For associative learning, reversal learning, and self-control, we found no relationship between the performance on those tasks and the number of innovations from the innovation database. In a similar way, we did not find an association between the performance on those 3 tasks and relative brain size in the 15 species. However, we found a strong relationship between problem solving and innovation. This is a standard linear regression, but we also computed more complex models, which are generalized linear mix models, which included several potential confounding biases such as morphology, personality traits, and phylogeny, and the final models showed significant relationship between problem solving and innovation. We then separated the types of innovations from the innovation database into food type innovations and technical innovations. For the food innovations, there was no relationship with problem solving. However, for the technical innovations, the relationship was even stronger than when we took any types of innovation together. Again, we performed GLMMs, and the final models were significant for the association between problem solving and technical innovations. We also assessed the relationship between problem solving and brain size in the 15 species and found a strong association. Again, this is a linear model, but the GLMMs yielded similar results. To return to our initial question, how to experimentally assess innovativeness, it appears that associative learning, reversal learning, and self-control are not appropriate to measure innovation, as the performance on those tasks were not related to innovation. However, the performance on problem-solving tasks was tightly associated with innovation. Therefore, this should be the first choice if the aim is to measure innovativeness. We also found that the performance on those 4 tasks are not correlated in our 15 species. So it appears that those 4 traits are distinct. In addition to the absence of correlations between traits, there was no association between the performance on any of those tasks and innovation except for problem solving. So based on that, we suggest that the use of umbrella terms such as behavioral flexibility should be avoided, since it can lead to incorrect assumptions as to the relationships between traits. With that, I would like to thank everyone that participated in that project, especially Melanie Couture, who took part in all the aspects of the project since the beginning, my supervisor Eric Jarvis, my former PhD advisor Louis Lefebvre, Alice for helping in the field work, and the funding agencies for providing money for that project. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. I will be more than happy to discuss more about that project. Thank you.